Right, we're coming to the last session, the close. A couple of things though, in your questionnaires in your bag, there's a questionnaire about the 12D conference, one about 12D model. Fill those in, you can leave them out the front desk so you can have suggestions for next time for the conference, other things, and also suggestions for 12D model. I think it might even ask you about what options do you use the most and those sorts of things. You can hand them into the front desk or email them or fax or email them to us at 12D Solutions. The Innovation Awards, congratulations to all the winners. Unfortunately, a lot of them came from the land of the long white cloud, but that'll just make us in Australia work much harder to try and win them next time. The good thing about it is the Innovation Awards, I think also you've got to congratulate all the people who actually entered. There's some fantastic entries in there, so it's often very, very hard to tell one from the other. So they're all fantastic entries. The good thing about SCIRT, you'll notice some of those people came from SCIRT. It finishes in 2016. They're rolling down at the moment, so there won't be any more innovations coming from there. So you'll be pleased to know that they'll be much easier to actually win next time. But we Australians are inventive people, as you all know, and so I was thinking of having a language test or something like that to see if people can't pass it, then they're not allowed to enter. So everyone will have to say the word 6 and check in, and if it sounds like sex or chicken, then they're no longer allowed to put in an entry. The other person we got rid of is Sam Check. Now, unfortunately, I had a fantastic rule last year that he would be made a judge and couldn't enter it, which means next year he can come back in again. So I haven't quite figured out how to do that. I thought I may make him an employee because they can't enter, but they'll cost me money. So what I've decided is I'm going to appoint Sam the reseller for Stewart Island. And resellers aren't allowed to enter the competition. So with those two rules in place, maybe your Australians have got a chance. Last night when finally we finished at the, after we're having drinks and things, I found out something very important. A while ago, early this year, Dale stopped speaking to me for about a week. And you know those things as gentlemen, the males, you don't really worry about saying anything, you just appreciate that someone's not nagging you for a week. And of course I've got all about it. But last night I found out why that occurred. It's 6 months ago. It was because it turned out Dale had organised for Dr. Carl to be the speaker at our dinner for the next conference. So without knowing that, we actually had him come as our guest speaker this time. So I was in big trouble. Also, I was in trouble because I said, well, if I did that guest speaker again, that sort of sets a precedent, so I'm going to have to do it from now on. So, yeah, Dale didn't speak to me for a week. But now, so next time we have to find another person rather than Dr. Carl for our dinner session. With organising these conferences, I've been backing out more and more, but for your protection, I have been setting certain rules. And people might have heard me mutter some of these over the last few days. One of it for the people is there's no such thing, no pretty food. No one's allowed to have these frigging little horsey doovers and stuff like that. We want for you guys just good solid things, meat pies and stuff that you can go with your beer. So the girls broke that a few times this time, but they've tried to do it most of the time. None of that nouveau cuisine muck for dinner. We want goods again, solid chunks that we can use. No scantily clad dancing girls. Now you may wonder, that would attract you all to come here again. Why did I bring in that rule, that I know scanty for our entertaining? Well, I worked it out. If we had scantily clad young ladies, which I'm not against, the word would have spread far and wide. And how many of you would be allowed to come to the next conference? Wives and girlfriends would have stopped it straight away. The other thing we can't have is any those, what do they call them, those guys, those muscular manpower type men, because they make me feel inadequate. So with those simple rules, that's what we run under. So some people did hear me swearing about some of the food that was very pretty food. That's good, be good substantial to go with your drinking. But anyway, where did I just put that thing in my pocket? The final thing to round up was, is there any theme? What's the common theme between our conferences, and why did I come up with a final name, 12D from Go to Woe? We've had a few conferences, this is our fifth. One was 12D closes the loop, and the idea was to show that data should go between different phases. That was back in 2005, and it didn't happen too often. The next one was taming electronic model. This was actually saying to people, it'd be good to have 3D data and things, and actually pass it around that loop. This one got me into a lot of trouble. Banishing a drafting demon. I was accused of upsetting all the drafts people in the world, that I'd say such a thing. But the whole idea was basically most draft people would rather be design draftsmen than just sitting there fiddling around with data, and anyone who uses 2D CAD just screws up your 3D database. So I wasn't insulting draftspeople at all, which is very, very serious that is the biggest bottleneck that we still have, and we need to eliminate it. Version 10 came out with 2012, which was bringing it all together, and that's where we actually had and brought lots of extra things into the file, things we didn't have before, so we basically had virtually all our applications in there and running. All different areas we hadn't done before that got all the 2D drainage, all those sorts of things there at the one place. But that was not the end of the journey. As we said there, version 10 really just gave us a powerful integrated 3D civil database that we could use to even build better versions of 12D model for you. So 12D from Go to Woe was really about, there's about all these extra things we got in it. You'll see now that it's not just integrated, but virtually every phase you're working on, 12D will work for you. 200 extra new things in version 11, things like that names.4D file with extra stuff, associated, the dimensioning, the multi-string properties, the whole lot of 2D, 1D extra things on that side of the drainage, point clouds. Alan didn't go and show them. There's a huge number of things we've done with the point clouds when you come to use them. E-plan, this has been in the making for about 12, 14 years. The ADAC, which again has been going around from about 2005, but people are finally going to use it from now on, from this year on. Clash detection, which you've asked for. Plotting, an area again that just we hadn't done. We've done a lot more work in to make it much easier. So right from beginning to your end of your projects, you can now plot quite quickly. The plot sheet composition, that was very, very hard to do before. So again, at every stage of your project, from Go to Woe, it's useful. We've added in pickup this time, so not only for set out, but we can take total control of instruments with pickup. The super alignment now looks after things like with the diameter for pipes, super pipelines, all those things that were missing, so you can again use just the super pipeline from Go to Woe rather than needing different things. Big problems we had with links and things have been eliminated with version 11. So again, places where it was horrible, you can actually do it. Whole lot of new things that before you couldn't finish off with 12D, you have had to go to a CAD system. Again, with the trim and other commands in the MTF, you can get data out without going, you can work from beginning to end of your project. The tri-mesh, the missing piece for things like BIM, civil BIM, or anything like that, this 3D model of data that you can use and section through at any place. That was the missing thing that we had for proper modelling. That's all in there now. So again, there's no stage that you can't use 12D model from Go to Woe in your project. Tunnels, bridges, all those sorts of things, they're all now possible. Curves, pavements, no one can now accuse us of not having a proper 3D model. Overlay, the wiring, the rest, the barriers, we saw them all. Bridges, complicated things like that. Again, people said 12D couldn't be used just for showing bridges. It's all there now. And for 12D set out tunnels, stuff that again was impossible before. So all those sorts of projects which were missing before are actually there. So basically, an extra things to bring all your data together. I know we've been pounding on the 12D synergy, but I think you'll agree after seeing it all, it was that next step you needed to bring all your data together, not just the 12D side, but everything else that went with the project, so that you can go from Go to Woe. So basically, that's why the theme was chosen, and it just added, before we got all the database together, it's now just adding all extra things we couldn't do in the one place, and then pulling things like 12D synergy in, so we really can say we can go from Go to Woe. But again, just like version 10, 12D Model 11 is not the end of the journey. We've now got all this new stuff in here like tri-meshes. It opens up a whole new world for us now to begin again on using this for new things in the future. Another important thing for this conference was the new 12D model pricing. Just to remind you, tri-meshes and things like that are just part of the base. And other things in there, the pipeline's now part of your alignment module, your sewer string's part of the drainage module. These are for people on maintenance and stone maintenance. The sewer analysis things will just be part of this or the drainage analysis. Again, to allow you to do a lot more of your total jobs without worrying about having to pay for things. When will 11 arrive? There's all these things in it. At the moment, we're running about 1 month late. You can see all the stuff we shoveled in. It was amazing. It was only 1 month late. We'll start bringing on people who are at this conference into the beta program. That was the whole idea. You're able to see things here, so you'll be able now to start using. A lot of your firms you want to start trialling out for quite a few months before you put it into production, but now we're in a point that you can start doing that. And we're hoping that in 6 weeks' time we'll have our first release version, version 11 C1A. Some things though, like tri-meshes, they will continue from the life of version 11. They're so new that until you start using them, we don't know what other things you're going to need and want to run with them. That usually happens with totally brand new things. It does take a version or two to start finding out all the different things you can do with it. So you'll probably see with C1A, B, C, more and more things that are available with the tri-meshes. It wouldn't be a conference without all the people to run it, and most of these, people like Lisa, Debbie, Lauren, Dale, Vicky and Aubrey, they're the ones who run around, register it all, make sure everything happens. They pick the food, all those sorts of things under my guidance and rules. So as long as they don't have pretty food, it's okay. All our staff and distributors and resellers, the staff spend a lot of time writing talks and things. All the presenters, it's great to have their firms put together and display what you've been doing. We're always amazed just what things you get up to with 12D that we never ever thought about. Poor old Blake's had a lot of time dealing with Microsoft to make things run smoothly. Most of those presentations we had tried beforehand. It wasn't so, but we just don't know what happened this time. So thanks for not losing your cool, Blake. Our sponsors, CR Kennedy, the Brisbane Convention and Conference Centre, I think they've done a fantastic job as usual. I don't think anyone could complain about the facilities or the food or anything else. I put on a few kilos. I'm not certain about the rest of you. And all your delegates, thanks very much for coming along. We certainly always appreciate your support. And these times it's very, very trying, but we'll be here to keep going and make sure we do everything for you. So thank you very, very much for coming along. The reason we are wanting to close now early rather than trying to push on for too long, because we're going to do something new that we haven't been done before. We often try and close early so people can get planes and things can go off. But what we're going to do this time, though, is now instead of saying rush and anyone going to the four winds on all our programmers, we're going to have birds of a feather question and answers. So any of those who would like to stay for as long as you like, we have this facility for at least about another hour. Our programmers and support people will be here, and they'll go out to the different birds of a feather rooms so you can go there and ask any questions. So take advantage of it. If there's any burning things that have come up, just go to either here for the design, B1 for the drainage, B2 for the survey, or down at the 12D Synergy room, B3. If anyone wasn't able to make it to the Synergy, missed one of those 6 sessions, I've repeated 12D Synergy, though I'm quite happy to show and go through it now. Because it was a very full program, so it was hard to find things to go and actually see. So we'll actually be here, say, for another hour just to answer your questions. So yes, once again, thanks very, very much for coming along. It's been great to have you here. I think this has been the fullest agenda we've ever had. It's just so many things to go through. So just for you guys to stay there and keep going for the 3 days has been a fantastic effort. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in 2016.